Hello. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is welcome to the channel, by the way. I want to talk about art and I want to talk about NFT art, and I want to discuss it in a way that is not particularly about trading and collecting and making money and stuff, but I want to talk about I want to talk just about, I want to just take the time with you to sit there, think about art, think about, and I've chosen NFTs just because it seems uncovered by the mainstream news media, and there aren't that many sources that talk about NFT art in a way that respects it as art or a cultural artifact. I mean, a lot of it is obviously crap art, but most art is crap art. So at least we can kind of sort of take the time to look at it and dissect and sort of think if there is any inherent value in the pieces, collections, whatever, or if they're a total waste of time. And even if they are a total waste of time, we can think about how that fits into culture, or if what it says about us, what it says about a culture that produces crap, or if there is something beautiful in it. Whatever. Sounds repetitive already. Let's just dive right into it. So what I wanted to cover today, I just wanted to start with Quentin Depew, Mr. OIZO, because Mr. OIZO I've been following for years. I'm sharing my screen, so I will share. Uh, uh, yeah, I'll share. I'll just share the images I'm looking at. I haven't used StreamYard very long, so let's see how that works out. But I just wanted to take the time to look at this collection with you and see what we think about it. So we're looking at the foundation platform at the moment, and Mr. OIZO's page. And we'll ignore the price and the sales for the time being, but let's look at some of the artwork or NFTs, whatever. I mean, I've seen recently that, I mean, a lot of the NFTs, they don't present themselves as art. They present themselves as a collectible, which is interesting because it sidesteps the whole the sort of the problematic things associated with identifying something as art. Because as soon as you call something art, you're throwing your hat in the ring, and you are, if you're talking about art with a capital A, suddenly everyone starts to put it into a different context and reflect on it in a certain way. So a lot of people, I think they become more comfortable with just calling something a collectible, because then you can't criticize it in the same way that you're expected to with art. But let's have a look. So so the initial thing that jumps out is the format, because obviously a lot of the late 2021 NFTs are based on the whole CryptoPunks format. So obviously it's a semi-portrait, it's always staring to the right-hand side, always approximately filling up the same area of the screen, and with interchangeable parts, interchangeable mouths, accessories on the face, on the base figure. And the thing that's interesting about Mr. OIZO is, well, he comes to NFT, he's got a certain credibility already. So a lot of artists, they haven't wanted to get involved with NFT because I think they assume that it might hurt their credibility somewhat to be identified with quickly trying to make a buck, or just trying to cash out on the art thing. But the reason Mr. OIZO is interesting is because he has always, although he has always been a highly regarded artist, he has always not been afraid to dabble, to play with what's seen as like lowbrow culture, and really anything, like really any medium that he's worked in, like film, music, uh, well, film and music and art, and he's always been prepared to make things that seem trashy, and elevate that to not even elevate it to art. I think he's just trying to make things that he gets excited by, and and through the trashy art, sometimes through using trashy things, you can you can build quickly. That's one of the things. I mean, he through using through using music tools and uh and software packages, things like this, that you can use them off the shelf. So that's the one beautiful thing about sort of lowbrow art, that you wouldn't be afraid to just um he sometimes remix like a disco track, adding just like beeps, and just really like there's no there's no need. I don't think he feels this need to like put a really intricate symphony or music formula in there. He will just throw a sample in there. Sometimes it's like roughly recorded, and there's like digitally, on some of these images you can see the digital artifacts. They shine through, and it gives him, I guess, an expediency. He can produce something instead of having to make something so glossy and fine and finely tuned, and he can put something out there, I guess. And that immediacy is probably quite exciting for him. I think it's quite exciting for every artist just to see something come to life in front of your eyes. I think for the greatest time in art history, we looked at paintings uh, as how long did it take someone to do this? You know, the more high, and only if something had taken a long amount of time, we could appreciate the value in it, because, we could appreciate man hours, and we could associate value with the time and energy and expenses put into something. But I guess after Jackson Pollock and the modern artists, the artists the artist's time wasn't valued in the same way. I mean, Picasso's got a quote. He's got a picture, I think, of a dove. Picasso's dove. Let me find it for you. Picasso is famous for saying about his dove. Maybe I can even find the quote. I mean, okay, I'll just badly sort of try and relay the quote to you. But basically, it was along the lines of, someone asked him, "Oh, it took you 10 seconds to draw that dove. Why is it worth so much?" And Picasso said something to the effect of, "It's taken me my whole life to draw this dove." So all the experience the artist brings with them. And that's the valuable thing, I guess, after the modernists. And that kind of ties into the artist as like a as a as a as an entity themselves. Like when you're looking at the art, you're not thinking about just the artwork, it's who's behind the art. I guess earlier on in maybe the 15th century and before that, the artist providing art as a utility, whether it was in the church or a sign or something, the artist wasn't considered. If someone looked at the icon of Jesus and Mary, they probably weren't expected to think about the artist. They were expected to think about the art itself, or the relevance of Jesus and Mary, and they were meant to think about it in a holy way in the church, or the sign was meant to was purely advertising. But now it's the artists themselves, and we think about the life that it made, that led someone to create this thing. So we're buying a person, we're buying unique experience, because something, I guess, if it's just detached from humanity and it's just another function of capitalist society or the church or whatever, Well, it's hard to detach it into art, I guess. It probably is one of the main distinctions between art and non-art. You know, non-art serves a function. I mean, we don't look in general at the can of Coke in front of you. You don't look at it in terms of art. I mean, you could if you looked at everything in terms of art, you'd probably drive yourself crazy within a short amount of time. But I mean, obviously, Andy Warhol, you know, gave us that look at, you know, cans of soup and, you know, the mass-produced item as art. But yeah, okay, don't know where I'm going with that. Maybe we'll come back to it. I don't know what was going on about. So let's look at what's in front of us. So we've got these. Is this StreamYard thing working, by the way? Yeah, you can see me scratching my face, being all weird. Good. I'm trying to sort of make it so that I get more comfortable with this as well, because you can see me squirming a little bit here. I want to be able to talk at length and be myself, be my kind of weird, anxious self. But maybe I want to be more relaxed as well, in a sense, because I want you to look at these shows. What I want to do is I want to produce shows where we can take time and relax and look at things in a relaxing way and take time to appreciate the art. Because I think if someone's just rambling on and on, you can't take the time to really think. But maybe if I just, you know, on the other side of the coin, I guess, if I am talking, I mean, I was watching John Berger. He has the Ways of Seeing videos, and even though he's talking for a long, you know, there's not really many pauses. He talks in quite a calm, scripted way, but it still lends itself to what I want to create an atmosphere where you can think, where I'm not preventing your own internal monologue. And a lot of these art shows and like NFT things I've seen on YouTube where people are reviews or semi-art critics or people like that. It's a scripted thing. It goes for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but it's very intense. It's like fast cuts and they always have a point. Whereas I think I may not have a point and I may ramble on, but maybe that's the point. You know, some of my ideas, I want to just explore things with you and see if something actually goes somewhere or if it's just an errant thought that just dissolves and then has no value further than a 2-minute contemplation. But you know, that's kind of what I want to provide. But maybe over time I will learn how to chill out a little bit. But I also want to be myself. So if I am being all weird, then fuck it. So yeah, so let's have a little look at these things. So yeah, what jumps out is that they are, you know, in that kind of crypto punks format. And one of the obvious things he's done, well, what he's done, I think, after looking at it for a while, is he's tried to subtly subvert it. He's not massively going out of his way to make any grand statements on CryptoPunks, because would that even be that interesting? I don't think so. But what he has done is he's taken the basic format of a grid of pixels. And I don't know whether CryptoPunk, on a technical level, I don't know whether they are just a small grid of pixels, because a small grid of pixels blown up to the size that they are, you know, you'd have digital artifacts. If you go into Photoshop and you make like a 50 by 50 grid of pixels, and then you just go image enlarging, it will try and interpolate between the two pixels, and it will leave digital artifacts if you blow up. So I don't know if the CryptoPunks are actually based around a small grid of pixels, but whatever. So this thing, it emulates the pixels because it's got that kind of pixel grid look where it's got that um, that kind of very it's got that very sort of, well, it's used the pixels in a very sort of efficient way, just the smallest amount possible to depict what they're depicting. But what he's done is he has broken that grid of pixels. He's taken different layers, like you can see the cigarette on the face. It's from a different grid of pixels, and he has rotated it slightly, so it's not a true grid of pixels. And you can see he's applied gradients to the hat over here, and obviously you would be able to see the uh, the steps of the gradient through the pixels, but you can't see it because he's broken it. This one's obviously a GIF because it's got the speakers moving, uh, and yeah, and he's just done little things like this is like a speckled effect on the t-shirt here. Um, so he has tried to subvert this idea of just the CryptoPunk format. Is that interesting? Kind of, I guess, because it gives a little insight into Quentin Depew, Mr. OIZO, because what he's done is he's also called it out in a way. You can see the MTV, the neon garish MTV there plastered onto the hat, and what it's done is it's kind of he's aware, like he's got the little hairs as well, kind of on the side of that. I'll just zoom in here. He's got the little hairs on the side of this guy's face. Flat Eric, I think the character's called. And what it does is he's shown he understands that it's like the rule is with these like the you know it's supposed to be pixel art, but he's broken it because he's shoved on just just clip art and stuff basically, which it defeats the idea of it being a pixel art. So he's kind of made a little statement about that. It's not real pixel art. It's broken pixel art. Um, and I think this is the Ed Banger Records label here. And yeah, he's just chucked on this chain, which is a completely different style. And I guess the sentiment, also this wonky moustache here. And I guess this character is supposed to be like a snobby art critic. And obviously this is something that the art critic would probably turn their nose up at. So he's having fun with it as well, because maybe they're not in on the joke. He's what he's saying is that I think he's taken what he thinks as lowbrow art and kind of made it even lower brow in a way. He's kind of broken it further down. And he's probably trying to come to terms with the fact that he's kind of just trying to sell these, trying to make a quick buck off NFTs as well. So he's not taking it extremely serious. I guess that is the artist's defense, because if someone who considered themselves like a fine artist was to go into NFTs and take it really seriously, I guess they're open to ridicule. But if he goes in and he's always got the defense that he was joking, so you can never fully sort of quite grasp and say, oh, look at how ridiculous you are, the emperor's got no clothes. He's always got the defense that he was joking about this thing. And there's always a sort of little sneaky irony in all of them. Like obviously this one's saying gross. I don't know whether that's referring to the artwork or just a cool thing that a person wearing an MTV hat would say. Lame. I think he's just saying they're piece of shit, basically, which is fine, and they're quite nice in that way. Are these things sold? Last sold for 0.31. I mean, I do quite like him. I don't know how much I would need to buy one for, but I do like him. I don't know what this is, like an egg with mucus on or something. See, the thing is, I'm trying to do this kind of art show thing, and it's really pleasant to come up and pontificate over the artworks in private and while you're watching other things. But suddenly, when I put myself on the spot, your brain doesn't quite fire in the same way because of you're aware of like someone watching it later, whoever it is, whoever you are. So you're aware of that imagined person, like I'm trying to like be a critic here, but you're imagining that being criticized. So I guess, in my head, the idea was always that the critic is the most useless uh, person in the world. It doesn't provide any service. I didn't maybe respect that you're also putting yourself in front of people, uh, bearing all in a way, because you're saying, I know something about something, and what I'm saying is valuable, and it's worthwhile that people listen to it. So it's also there's also a kind of vulnerability of putting it out there and letting people criticize you, because in a way I'm not hiding, like I am an artist. I consider myself an artist. Maybe my art's shit, but I still consider myself an artist. But when you're making art on a canvas, or digital or whatever, you're still hiding behind the art. You're still wearing a mask. And you're still presenting yourself in a mysterious way. But with this, no artist really would really, very, very few artists, I think, would want to do this, to just talk into a camera about what they're saying, because it sounds like that. Because imagine if I come up with nothing, if I sit here and I come up with nothing to talk about, then then not only the viewer, but maybe me, I'll think, wow, is that the depth of my my kind of understanding of art? If I sit down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I look at a piece of art with you, and I draw a blank, or I have something very, very crude or obvious to say, then I'm going to turn off the camera and end the stream, and I will think, wow, is that all you have to offer when you look at a piece of art? Is that how simple and pathetic your brain process is? Now, sounds very self-destructive rant, but I don't know. We're just sitting here thinking and seeing how we feel, and not putting any pressure on ourselves to come up with any particularly deep thoughts. We are just presenting ourselves with Mr. OIZO's art and seeing what that provokes inside of us. And I think the one thing that I'm avoiding doing is actually what I set out to do, which is just relax and look at the art. Because I think what's missing from a lot of, well, what art critics have never been able to do for however many years, is sit down with the viewer, not in a scripted way, and allow the ideas to come to them in real time with the viewer, so we can appreciate the art together. It's not really a critic, it's not an artist, but I suppose it's more of a reaction video in a way. It's more of a modern sort of reaction video, because we're both experiencing the art at the same time. But I am obviously coloring the art in a certain way. You're getting a filtered perception of it. You're getting it through my presentation, which is very, very crude at the moment. But I think we're going to go into much more depth. I've got a whole load of talking points, and I do want to cover them, but let me just check how long this one's gone on for. How do I even know? I'm on. It's been 24 minutes. I say that's probably enough for the first stream. I say that's enough for the first stream. But what I want to do is, as I get more comfortable with this, I really do want to go into more depth with other artworks. I mean, there was tons of stuff to talk about with Mr. OIZO. We didn't really talk about any of it. I had a few talking points prepared, as I said, but I'm going to try and get better at this. I think I can do a better job next time. So please, if you give me another chance next time, I think we had an interest. You know, it might have been interesting for you. Hopefully, it was slightly interesting. It was interesting for me to experience this, and then next time I can come back to it with a better. I just want to get more confident and relaxed doing this, so that ideas flow more freely through my mind, and so that we can. Because what I was thinking this morning, like, what I really would love to do is like a Bob Ross style thing, like how you could just, he was painting and you could just almost, because he enjoyed the process of painting, and you could sort of partake of that process with him, and you could just see the color being applied to the canvas, and just him kind of, how much he enjoyed, just applying the colors basically. I think it would just be nice if we could just enjoy a few moments of appreciating some imagery or appreciating thought together. We'll see where it goes. I mean, here is some. I mean, I keep on saying I'm going to wrap it up, but I want to talk about things in a sort of way that we can look at art, like look at the bigger questions. Like, so when we're looking at NFT art, we're looking at like, what is NFT? Not exactly what it is in a technical way, but why it came about at this juncture of technology and culture, and what it means, and why most NFT art looks the way it does. I mean, it would be more interesting, I guess, to go into, if we're going to do a deep dive on this, it would be more interesting to why CryptoPunks has led the way. What is the thing that makes CryptoPunks so reproducible, and what does that mean for culture? Why is that the highest? Why is that so significant at the moment? And why is everyone aping it? And I know there are obviously monetary reasons and massive monetary reasons, but money does follow our ideas as well. Money doesn't exist in a certain way apart from culture. It is what's perceived to be valuable is valuable. So, I said in the last thing that I didn't really want to cover money at all, but in a way, with money as a byproduct of culture or of the human experience, it's not irrelevant. So I think we will talk about that. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up now, and we'll come up with something. We'll come up with something for next time. But thank you for joining me.